beautiful beings, how are you today? So in this gorgeous video, there was more coming up with a recent comment that had come through, and it was about the topics. Why don't I choose more joyful topics, or more, topics that are more about love, more about joy? And I realized that's not what we're here for. Yes, it's wonderful to have those joyful moments. Yes, it's wonderful to have those moments of love. I love those moments. I cherish those moments when they come. But I know that's not all we're here for. And in the comment, there was something about the topic. That someone was a bit disturbed with the topic I chose of cheating. And at the time when, I was receiving the information, because I just sit here and I just allow the information to come through. I don't filter, if that makes any sense. So I know that whatever message comes through is meant for someone. Someone's meant to receive that. I just know that from comments I've received in the past. People saying, I can't believe you just sent that through. I needed that message today, or things like that. But know in your heart that when I talk about a topic, 99% of the time, it's something I've experienced. Now, with the topic of cheating that came up, for me, my husband that I have now is my second husband. And to be with him, I had to cheat on my first husband. I was already married when I met my second husband. Now, why do I bring that up? Because the topic of cheating just came out that day. And I had a whole list of things in front of me. I had sexual abuse, domestic violence. I had all these topics. But for some reason, when I was looking at the topics for that video that I was talking about, the one that said cheating just was highlighted. So I went with it. Now, know as well within your heart that I'm not a saint. I've tried everything. I'm not here to say, I talk about all these things, but I've never done any of them. I have smoked cigarettes when I was in my 20s. I drank alcohol when I was in my 40s. I have cheated on a partner, and I know exactly what that feels like, how bad I felt doing it, knowing that that other person is trusting you and that you're not being honest, you're not being faithful or loyal or whatever the words are. Again, I came to experience all of that. What does that feel like? So I know for me in this lifetime, that was also an experience I came to have. I was meant to be on that side of that experience. What does that feel like? For me, I've had lots of friends, family, loved ones, where the experience has been on the other side. They're the ones who their partners have cheated on them, and I've watched the pain, the hurt that creates. When you trust someone and they cheat on you. Now, looking at it on a deeper level, for me, with my first partner, I didn't feel good enough to be with him. I just didn't. And it wasn't anything that he said. It wasn't anything that he did. It was just how my human experience was evolving. I'm just looking at it now through the eyes of love. I wasn't good enough for my mum's love. And that's how my story started. The moment my sister was born, I watched them. I watched my mum and her relationship with my sister, and it was so different to mine. So different to the relationship I had up until that point with my mum. So different. So I assumed at the age of 5, watching them, my mum and my sister and their relationship, that I was no longer wanted. I was no longer loved. It wasn't the truth. It's just what I decided in that moment, just watching them and their relationship. I couldn't remember that 5 years before my mum had done all of that for me as a baby. I was 5. I couldn't remember that. All I know was at the age of 5 now, my mum spending all her time with this new baby, my sister that I had asked for. And that went on for at least the first 2 years of my sister's life. But then my sister was, those beings that are really clingy, that need attention 24/7. She was one of those kids, whereas I was the opposite. I was always in my own little world doing my own little thing, and I didn't want to be interrupted. And to this day, I'm still quite like that. My daughter will say, hello, Earth to Mum, because if I'm writing a book or I'm in the middle of something creative, whatever that may be, I'm off with the fairies, so to speak. I am not here present. I am off in my own little world doing whatever it is that I'm meant to be doing in that moment. I know that now. But I'm so focused. I'm so gone when I am in the zone, as I call it. So I was very different. Different to my cousins, different to everyone I knew around me. There was no one else around me like me. So it was, I can't say hard growing up. You know, I used to have a lot of fun with my cousins, and they never treated me like I was different. That's what I loved about them and growing up with them. They just treated me as an equal, always, like I was the same. But then, not going off the topic, when I met my first partner, I already had that in my system, that I wasn't good enough for my mum's love. I wasn't good enough for her. And so I was just replaying that now with this partner, the first person that I fell in love with. I was replaying that any day now, he was going to get fed up with me, he was going to get sick of me, and he was going to move on, because that's what people do that love you. They'll love you for 1 minute, but then they'll find someone better and move on to that other person. He'll realize how different I am, and he won't want me anymore. So this was what was going on in my head all the time. I was just waiting for him to leave, waiting for him to leave. I had decided I wasn't good enough for him. No matter how much I loved him, I wasn't good enough. And I'd find all the excuses. He was smarter than I was. He was more beautiful than I was. I shouldn't be with this person. He should be with someone more beautiful. I had 100 reasons why I shouldn't be with him. Why is he with me? I just couldn't find the answer. Why would he want to be with me? He should be with someone better suited for him. And then it came to the point I met who is now my husband through work. We worked together. And the more I got to know him, the more I realized how similar we were in our thinking, in our way of being, in so many ways. And there wasn't this hierarchy of he was more intelligent. We were equal in every way possible, except of course he's male and I'm female. That's the only difference between us. But, you know, so when I met him, I finally felt like, oh, I don't have to feel this way anymore, that I'm not good enough to be with you because we're the same. You know, the more I got to know him, the more I realized how similar we were. And I got to a point where it was enough for me. I'd had enough, was what I was trying to say, with feeling that way about my first partner. I loved him to bits. I thought he was the one. You know, you're conditioned to think there is the one that you're looking for throughout your life, your soul partner or whatever that is. But one day, many years after, you know, we'd started going out together, so at least, I'm trying to think, over 8 years. I just woke up one day and thought, you know what, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want to feel that I'm not good enough for other people, for another person anymore. I was already still playing that out with my mum. Every time I had to be with her, it was always about, oh, you want to be with my sister, not with me. You know, you prefer to be with her, not with me. Always. You prefer her company to mine. So I was still already playing that out with her, with my mum. That didn't stop for a long time until I realized the truth of it. But with that first partner, it hurt so much to love him and not feel good enough for that love, that one day I just said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And that's how that ended. Because being with my husband that I have now, I felt better. I felt equal. I felt home is the word that I didn't discover until much later through Reiki, how much home he really was for me. And that was a beautiful experience in itself. But that's how my cheating came about. There was all those dynamics already playing out in that first relationship. All of that. There's always a reason for cheating. There's always. It doesn't just happen because I'm bored. Well, it could be. You know, maybe the person's bored. They're not getting enough attention from that person and they seek attention from someone else. I know for me, that wasn't the case. You know, that wasn't the case. It was just how I felt when I was with him. And it wasn't how he was making me feel, because he was doing everything he could to make me feel loved. But I couldn't feel that love. I couldn't feel it. Because to me, the belief that I wasn't good enough was stronger than his love. The decision that I'd made such a long time ago, that my love isn't good enough for others. It's not wanted, it's rejected. And so we take these beliefs into our adult years and we play them out everywhere. We don't even realize we're doing it. I didn't realize that's what I was doing until after my daughter was born, and we're talking almost 20 years later. 20 years. That I didn't realize why I had broken up with that first partner, or why I had done what I had done. But through my daughter's birth, I had my first awakening. And everything started to reveal itself in that time. And that was another belief. I believed the day I became a mother, my life would be a rainbow. I would be so in love and I'd have all this love to give to this beautiful little being. And they'd have no choice but to receive it because they're mine. They're my child. I can give it to them freely and they're going to accept it because they're mine. They haven't been rejected in any moment. They have no reason to reject my love. And it was in the first year of her being born that I realized, wait a minute. Nothing's changing. I'm still angry. I'm still feeling this not good enough with my mother. I'm like, my life is not a rainbow. What the heck? And that's when I started to challenge all my beliefs. I was like, well, wait a minute. If I believed that for over 15 years, waiting for this being to come into my life, and that's not true, she wasn't the answer, how many more beliefs are not true that I'm holding on to? I started to question all of it, everything. And the more you question, the more you ask, the more the universe opens up to give you those beautiful answers because you're ready for them. You're ready for them. Something beautiful that came up today, I was listening to a shorts video that I was placing up on Facebook, and I realized in one of the earlier videos I had said that your spirit guides can't guide you, they can't come in without your permission because you have free will. But what I realize now is that your beautiful spirit guides are always there in the background. It's like they're behind this curtain, you know? You're on stage, there's this whole production, and this is your life. You are the main actor or actress of your life, and you're standing there on the stage performing. And behind the curtain, there's all these beautiful spirit guides that you had already chosen before coming into this lifetime. And yes, occasionally they'll send you a sign because they're working side by side with your soul, with your higher self. They already know your path. So with your soul, with your higher self, they're constantly sending you signs that this is the way, this is the way. Take that job, don't take that job. Go down that road. Don't go down that road. Constantly sending you signs of your path. But they're working behind the curtains. It's not that they're not there because you haven't invited them in. The video was really about when you give them permission to come in, then you're co-creating. You can ask them and they can send you a sign and you're like, you know they sent you that sign because you asked for it. Whereas before you would have seen the sign and thought, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should go down that road. But not have the clarity that, oh, you asked and your spirit guide said, yes, that's the way. Or your soul or your high self or whoever it is that, however it is that you want to work that. They're always there. They know your path. And your compass, and this is what I was trying to say in the previous video. In previous videos, sorry, when I talk about what resonates. Your compass is your heart. What resonates is what's your path. Do not compare your path to another. We're going to talk more on this in the next one because it's so important. Because there may be hundreds of people out there talking to angels. It doesn't mean their path is better than yours. There may be thousands of people out there living in richness and abundance. It doesn't mean their path is better than yours. Every path has its challenges. Every path has its, what you need to learn from that path. There is no easy path. If that's what you're thinking, oh, because they have all the riches and all the abundance, their life must be easy. No, each path comes with its own set of challenges and lessons and experiences that create knowing within you. And how do you know if it's for you and your path? That's why you've been given this heart. Feel into your heart. What does it say? If it's telling you that angels aren't real, then that's not your path. If it's telling you past lifetimes are not real, then that's not your path. If it's telling you that having psychic abilities is not real, guess what? That's not your path. If it's telling you that you are here to feel shame and guilt and pain and suffering, and that resonates with you, that you are here to be all alone in this world, no one here supports you, no one here is going to help you. You are here to struggle on your own, and that resonates with you. Then that is your path. But even that path, because I was on that path for so long, the struggling on my own, the having to figure it all out on my own, the feeling like everything is on me. I can't count on anyone. I have to do it all myself. I've been down that road. The feeling separate, the feeling alone. I've been there. I know how that feels. But even through all of that, and even through the 2 depressions of not wanting to be here anymore, this life is still beautiful. There is still so much that you can appreciate about this gorgeous life that you've been given. The path that your soul has chosen is perfect. It's never a mistake. The soul doesn't make mistakes. And just because it looks like hard work doesn't mean it's not right for you, that this isn't what you came to experience in this lifetime. It's perfect. And it's not more and it's not less than what others are going through. Just because their life looks better than yours. They look like they have it all. We'll talk more about this in the next one. I'll go through with a bit more depth. All right, my beautiful beings, it's going a bit long. Love you. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And we'll talk in the next one, okay? Bye for now.